Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a perspective that, honestly, it challenges a really fundamental idea about how blessings are received.
Mm-hmm.
Our source material is a YouTube video, and it's based on this chronological meditation on Peter's letters. Written to early Christians facing some immense persecution.
Right, a tough time.
And the title itself is pretty bold. Blessings are not received by faith, but enjoyed by obedience.
Yeah.
So we're going to explore what that distinction truly means for you.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is how this perspective radically redefines not just what a blessing even is, but the very nature of a purposeful life.
Purposeful how?
Especially when you're facing hardship. The core insight, really, is that true holy hope. It isn't about escaping suffering. It's a profound understanding that God's blessings are experienced through active obedience, even within difficulty. It's a hope completely set apart from, worldly values.
That distinction, received by faith versus enjoyed by obedience, it immediately makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does.
So if it's not simply given through belief, maybe passively, but found through action, what does Peter actually say about that action? What does it look like?
Well, the source really emphasizes that for Peter, a life of faith isn't about finding an easy path or getting special privileges. Quite the opposite, actually.
Right.
It's about believing in God's active presence, his aliveness, and living by God's eternal word, even through intense persecution.
And you mentioned the context like Emperor Nero. Sounds intense.
Oh, absolutely. Think about that historical setting. Under Nero's brutal rule, just being a Christian could be life-threatening. So the source describes this path as, difficult, arduous, often dangerous, and crucially, not something to be avoided.
Okay, so this isn't about avoiding the world's chaos, is it? It's more about living differently within it. How does the source unpack that idea?
Precisely. Yeah, it's about living according to God's kingdom values within the existing world. Things like prioritizing humility, endurance, love, even when circumstances are incredibly challenging.
Can you give an example from the source?
Sure. For instance, Peter tells servants, even those with cruel masters, to endure, not, stage a coup or revolt.
Mm.
And the source explains this isn't endorsing injustice. It says, God created a world where human rights are respected, but it was human disobedience that led to these broken social orders.
Ah, okay.
So Peter's instruction demonstrates this deep commitment to shining light in darkness, even when it's deeply uncomfortable or seems unfair by worldly standards.
That's a really challenging perspective, especially when you think about modern ideas of justice and fighting oppression.
It is.
Does the source offer maybe more concrete, everyday examples of what this action within present reality looks like?
Mm-hmm.
Beyond, the extreme persecution?
It does, yeah. It brings up practical examples like the specific instruction in 1 Peter 3 for wives to win over their non-believing husbands through their behavior and their purity and reverence.
So conduct over just words.
Exactly. It's about being an illuminating presence through your actions, your whole way of life, not just what you declare. And the source also powerfully emphasizes that quote from 1 Peter 3. Even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed.
Blessed through suffering for doing right.
Yes. And this suffering isn't presented as something strange or unexpected. It's actually described in 1 Peter 4 as kind of a normal everyday life for believers.
Wow. Normal everyday life. That's very countercultural for many of us today.
Definitely.
Does the source explain how someone can actually embrace that? Or is it just a call to, grit your teeth and endure? And are we really told to rejoice in suffering?
Yes, rejoice. And this is where it gets truly transformative, I think.
Go.
The source says we're to rejoice because participating in the sufferings of Christ, meaning experiencing hardship because your life aligns with his teachings, it means you're actually on the right path. You're sharing in something profound.
So the suffering itself becomes evidence.
In a way, yes. And these hardships, like a fiery furnace, as Peter puts it, they aren't just things to be endured passively. They're seen as a purifying process.
Okay.
Yeah, they strip away our reliance on, worldly desires and comforts. They cause us to abandon those things and look forward instead to true and eternal blessings.
And how do we get that understanding? Because that's not an easy perspective.
Well, the source stresses it comes from knowing God's true heart. His consistent character and purposes revealed across the entire Bible.
Not just cherry-picking verses.
Exactly. Not just picking out the convenient, sweet parts that might promise an easy life. It's about grappling with the whole picture, his whole nature.
This deep dive and certainly reframes how we might think about being blessed and living a life of faith. It's a much more active and maybe, more challenging definition than many are used to.
It really circles back to that core idea, doesn't it? Blessings are not received by faith, but enjoyed by obedience.
Right.
And the source reinforces this, pointing even to Deuteronomy 28, emphasizing that it's about diligently knowing God's will and then, crucially, walking according to his will. It's an active, committed, obedient walk.
So for you, our listener, here's something provocative to think about. If true blessings are indeed enjoyed through obedience, even when that path involves difficulty and trials, how might that profound idea shift your perspective on the challenges you face in your own life today?